How are you getting the
At least
cut?
I want that.
Sending it to a lender.
I knew
Talk
she was
more
gonna
about
ask.
So conventional lenders won't do it because it's against like lending rules. But if you connect someone to a private money lender, they'll give you a cut all day. You just got to ask them.
This is the Be More Show for agents, where you'll find real talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it, all tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy.
Hi, guys.
What is up?
Hey,
We're so glad to
Erin.
have you today.
I'm so excited to be here.
Dude, in your hotel room during a move, you are committed to this, and we respect that and love it.
Yeah, it's a nice break, I'll tell you. I've been cleaning bathrooms all day, and I feel like I have like a contact high from the chemical cleaning products. So
Oh, dude, perfect. So we're going to get some really weird shit out of you today because you're high as
hopefully.
fuck. I love it. Okay, great start. Okay, so how I know Erin, we were actually just talking about this. So this is like one of those social media runs in the same circle type of thing. Like Erin and I were both on the From Military to Millionaire podcast, and then on Michael Glaspie, one of our previous guests, he has a podcast, and then also on Bigger Pockets. And it was just this like social media friendship thing. And we finally met in person at the Women's Investor Conference. I think, was that almost 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
A year and a half. Yeah. And then since then, we just stayed connected. And I literally like stalk everything you do on the internet because you're such a badass. And Erin, Allie's gonna hit us with the stats here.
Yeah, dude. So you've been a realtor, and correct me where I'm wrong because I'm reading
Sure.
off of this. So you've been a realtor for 4 years. You've serviced over 300 clients, and during that time, you're not just doing realtor stuff. You're also investing. So 94 rental units, 17 of them are Airbnbs. You have not one but 2 YouTube channels. 6 digital domains, 1 Amazon store. Your monthly passive cash flow is almost $14,000 a month. You have a portfolio of over 12 million, and your net worth is just shy of $2 million. I am so excited to dig into all of this today. But remaining
so
on like the
much
agent side,
meat.
I know there's like so much.
Oh my God. We could do like 12 different podcasts.
So we're super excited to have you, Erin.
Yes.
Let's dive into your show moment.
We can't talk about the good without getting the real,
Yeah.
dirty, the deep, the dirty here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I have a good one. I mean, I hope you guys laugh because I think this is pretty funny, but
ooh, Shelby, let's not laugh. Let's make it awkward.
So awkward. I'm muting myself. Okay.
I just imagine yourself in this situation. So take me back. I was probably like 18 years old, and I was hanging out with my brother, and we were at this country club that my parents belonged to. And the bathrooms were like, the men's room was like down the hall a little bit. I was coming out of the ladies' room, and my brother was coming out of the men's room at the same time. So we were going like down the hall. I decided to go around the corner, and I'm going to scare him when he comes around the corner. There's like not a soul around. So I'm like, already, I'm so excited. This is like a thing that my brother and I would do. And I see him come in, and I jump out, and I'm like, like ready to just scare him, right? It's not my brother. It's this dude. He's probably like mid-20s. Remind you, like I'm 18. He's mid-20s. He's like super good looking, dressed up like in a full suit. And I scared the out of him. Like he stopped on his tracks, like grabbed his chest, like, and then my brother was behind him watching this entire thing. So he will never like let me live this moment down. But I like didn't know whether to be like mortified or to like laugh. It was just such a weird moment until the guy finally like scurried off, and then my brother and I just like died. Like, and
dude, I love that, especially since he was hot. It's like it has to be the hot ones.
Yeah,
for sure.
no, I know, and I'm like, why did it have to be that guy? Like, I'm just like, so I'm like embarrassed, and I'm like, oh my god.
Did you guys continue playing that game? Like, did you continue scaring at other times? I would have stopped.
I'm pretty sure he did, but I don't think to this day that I've done it.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. No, that's good. When I see you, that's what I'm doing from now on.
I hope that you have another moment like I do so I can witness it. I just like imagine being in my brother's shoes, like watching this whole thing go down and seeing me like super stoked to like scare him and then be like, oh my God, not him.
Dude, I love it. I love it for him too. Okay, so we got your show moment. We have a little bit about your background, but I guess take us a little bit, like, how did you get into real estate? How'd you, get bit by the bug, and then up to as far as we can go without questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Agent related too, as much as possible. Yeah.
So I actually got my agent license like 6 years ago, right as I was getting out of the Army. I remember, my oldest is 7, and I was like doing it when she was a baby, like the studying. But what I immediately put my license into like retirement status or whatever. Like I took the test, passed the test, and like I was kind of overwhelmed by the broker, like finding a brokerage and figuring out what to do. And I couldn't wrap my head around this concept of like giving someone 50% of your commission, because I really wanted to be on a team, because I had a newborn baby, getting out of the Army. My husband was deployed, new career. It wasn't something I necessarily wanted to do full time. So I was like set on joining a team. And I was like, you want me to give you half of my paycheck? It just was hard for me to wrap my head around.
So much.
Yeah. And then also to like, I'd have to pay for like every single hour of babysitting. And I knew I wasn't going to make money right away. But the reason for me to get my real estate license initially was to help with my investing. I don't know why a lot of newbie investors think like, oh, get your license, it will help. And what I've learned is it can help. And during COVID, I think it was productive in the sense that like agents would actually call you back when you were told them you were an agent. Like if you were not an agent, you try to get a hold of someone and they had a property with 20 offers on it, they're probably not going to call you back. So I feel like in that sense, it helped a little bit. But when I first got started, it wasn't necessarily like worth it for me to actively maintain my license and pursue real estate, and also hang out in analysis paralysis for a couple months, years, where most people start. So that's kind of where it was when I started. And I was just afraid, right? I was just like trepidatious. I didn't have like a crew of people that were doing this that could help me learn how to do it. And so I just decided not to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just did nothing, right? So fast forward like 2 years of me just like being in analysis paralysis. And then I finally bought my first property and started to like, I got the real estate investing bug, but I was like, how am I going to buy my next property? I don't have any money. I don't have any income. Yep. Besides this single family home that made me $300 a month. I'm like, it's going to take me 15 years to get a down payment for the next property. So I decided to get my license going again and start to buy, joined a team, did my 50-50 thing, then moved. And all this time I'm a military spouse. My husband stayed in the Army when I got out. And then we moved from Tennessee, which is where we are now, to California. And we were only going to California for 18 months while he did his master's degree. And I was like, I'm not going to spend the money on getting a new license in California, try to, build a clientele there. Yeah. And California is like it's a totally different market than like what was like rural Tennessee at the time. So I decided not to do that. Didn't really know anything about referrals. I don't know that I'd even done a referral at that point, but I moved to California. A friend of mine was moving there and he said, I need to buy a house. Can you help me find a realtor? And I was like, sure. Help him find the realtor, do the referral paperwork. And I made more money on that referral than I did on any transaction I made in Tennessee, because
California prices.
And I was getting my 25% for doing nothing versus my 50%, which ended up being like, no lie, guys, like $1,800 a transaction, because I was selling $230,000 homes,
Yeah.
So for my husband to go to work all day, all week, and then me to work on the weekends, have no family time, it just was not worth it. It didn't make any sense to me. So I luckily didn't just like retire my license. I put it into like a referral status and just kept doing referrals while I was in California. And the first full year, I made more money as a referral agent than I did as a full-fledged agent.
That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah. So that's all I do now. And it's nice because we're about to move again. My husband's, the Army's moving us again. And it's really easy to get super resentful in this situation. And I've been really resentful of like, I didn't necessarily want to get out of the Army. I wanted to pursue my career. I'm glad now, that I'm out and I'm doing other things. But I think one of the ways to alleviate that feeling of resentment is, when you're packing your house every 2 years, trying to find a new job or whatever, is to work for yourself and have something that can move with you everywhere you go. And so now in transition in a hotel room, nothing changes for me. My income doesn't change. I'm able to just keep rolling and I love it.
I love that. So you skipped from agent and you just jumped to the referral agent, which is like a lot of people's goal. It's just you like cut out all the middle part.
Yeah. I mean, completely inadvertently. Like it wasn't like I was like, I want to be a referral agent. I didn't even really know about it. It just sort of happened. And in that process, I had been building up my social media and sort of just making a name for myself, starting to get on podcasts and going to all the meetups. You know, I was like a new hungry investor. And, you know, whether you're an investor, a realtor, an appraiser, a home inspector, it's all the same network. And so I was going to all these meetups, meeting all these people. And I was like, you know, all this stuff can really go hand in hand. And I feel like that's been the battle for me since the beginning, is like making sure that everything is working in the right direction so that I can ultimately continue to grow my portfolio, which is the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Dude, I hear this so much. This like speaks to me so much because I am like right there with you. Also, referral agent. My spouse is also still active duty Air Force. I'm going to follow her around for the next couple of years. So, one, that was like the biggest reason why I ended up joining the brokerage that I did, because I don't have to pick up, first of all, say bye to everyone and then find a new office and then hope that the culture is the same and then hope that my business is the same. You can just pick up and move. I was like in Scotland, you know, for 2 weeks and just working out there. Anyway,
Yeah.
I hear this. So I want to go into your specific agent stats now, where when you like fill out the form, your market is the whole US because you are a referral agent. And really, it could be any country, really, too. So, and your niche is you work with investor agents, since that's the language that you speak. You also speak military, too. And so your total volume has been 8 million. And just in the last year, it's been 2.5. And when we ask whether like agents are that jump on this podcast are either like a solo agent or a team leader, you put team leader, but like the team in quotes, right? Because it's not, I presume we'll get into this later, but it's not like the 50-50 split like you had
Right.
when you first started out. Like a lot of people have when they first start out, which is crazy.
Yep.
And you now have another quote team of 10 that you have like sponsored in and are showing the ropes, and that way they can do the same thing. So that is amazing. I love this. I love this. We love your DMs on Instagram. And as long as you don't sound like a bot or aren't sharing your overnight crypto success, hit us up on Instagram. Let's be friends. We're at The Shelby Show and at Allie the Agent.
I was just going to say, it's important to note on those stats that doesn't include any of my referrals. Those are only like my active agent transactions.
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
that's awesome.
I wouldn't even have a clue how to go back and like track my agent stuff, because I am so ridiculously hands off when it comes to the referral stuff. Like I tell every agent, like, let me know how I can help. And occasionally I'll make a phone call to a lender or the client themselves or something like that. But I do not keep track of that stuff at all. It's sort of just bonus money to me because it's relatively inconsistent. So yeah, maybe I should go check and see. But like,
totally.
So to put it in perspective,
there's money out there.
Yeah, I know. This year I'm trying to cap, and I think I'll cap as a referral agent. And I mean, if I put 30 minutes a week into being a referral agent, that would be a lot. So
1000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yes, you will cap being a referring agent. I'll just tell you that. Yeah.
I have a question about so you mentioned being on podcasts and your social media presence. Do you do anything else to like generate referrals, or like where do all these referrals come from?
So a lot of like social media presence. And this is what I tell people on my team or anyone that I meet that's working to become an agent or something, or start their own business. I'm like, you need to tell everyone that you know, make sure that everyone that you know, and you'll probably have to tell them 7 to 11 times, that you are like, I'm Erin Helle. I'm a realtor. I'm an investor. I can help you do anything in the real estate business. And that's just what I want people to know. So anyone who thinks about real estate, like they want to buy an investment, they want to sell their personal residence, they're looking for a lender, they want to syndicate, I want them to think of me first. And so that's sort of my goal with every single thing that I do, all my interaction on podcasts, on social media, my posts, but also like my activity in the groups, which I think is probably where most people would connect with me. But I'm just on all the networks, like the West Point Real Estate Network is a big one. And yeah, just a lot of different things like that. But that's the goal, is for everyone to see my name and think real estate.
Yeah. Which groups are you talking about? Like in person or Facebook? Or other groups?
Well, both. And so I
hit us with the groups.
Yeah.
Which
So I
groups?
host my clients and properties. So
Okay.
that's a good one. And that's relatively small, right? Like I've been doing it for like a year and a half. I just handed it off to my teammate and I'll start another one in New York when I get up there. But the nice one about that is like, it's so easy to showcase your knowledge and your expertise because they're seeing you in person once a month.
Yeah.
And then
Love it.
so much more than that. And then like the probably the biggest one for me is the West Point Real Estate Network Facebook page. There are pages on LinkedIn and Facebook, like real estate investor networks in every market you can think of. There's active duty passive income. There's just tons of them out there. So whatever your niche is, just search in LinkedIn, Facebook. I think you can also do like meetup.com, but find them and I would just say like, make sure your energy is focused on the stuff that aligns with what you're doing. And then attend those meetups either in person or just engage on social media.
So in these Facebook groups, are you answering questions? Are you the one starting a thread or a post? How do you focus your energy?
All of that. Anytime that like if you have a need for something, like, you're looking for a foundation guy, instead of just saying, hey, anyone have a foundation guy? You want to say like, hey, I'm Erin, I'm an investor. I just bought this property. It might have foundation issues. Who do you guys know that would be good for foundations? Give a little bit of background. So it again, just sort of like fits your narrative and like associates people. I can't tell you how many people that I meet in person at different meetups that know who I am and I don't have a clue who they are because they just see my name on social media and they watch me, my videos and stuff like that.
That's a freaking great tip about using every time you have a question or every time you are presenting, like giving value or asking to reintroduce yourself. Like I don't do that. And I think that's a great tip. Start with the introduction, ask, and then at the end, it's like, oh, if you know anyone or, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, I can also help you with that. That was really good.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sure, Erin, you also see being a part of these Facebook groups, which is money. Whenever someone says, I'm PCSing to Davis Monthan, and then there's the swarm of realtors that are like, I can help, I can help, I can help. Are you in there? Or like, do you do that? Or what is the
Are you
workaround for
swarming?
that? How do you?
No,
Are you?
I did at one point. I was doing a lot of that stuff, but honestly, what I use those for now is just to shout out other agents. I think I've probably done it with you, Allie, but I think what the difference is like, don't just say I can help or I know someone who can help. Like say, I worked with so-and-so and they were fantastic and I know that they can help you. I'm going to shoot you a direct message and let's talk about it because they probably get overwhelmed by it too. But I can't stand that, the whole concept of that. But I also know like it's not really worth a lot of time and effort because you're competing with 80 other realtors or whatever. So I don't put a lot of stake into that.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that when I see it, because it happens so often in like the groups that I'm a part of, if I'm the first one, usually I'll get it. Cause like I won't only just comment on the thread, I will tag them. I will start even like another thread and I'll tag them. So that way they
That's
get
a
the
great
notification.
idea.
I add them as a friend. I message them. Sometimes I'll even call them on Facebook. Like you can do so much. So I'm like, I am
That's
there, but only if
awesome.
I'm one of the
Yes.
new ones, like if it's already been up 30 minutes and eight people have already commented, I'm not even going to try.
And
Yeah.
I also feel like so much of it depends on like where you are in your business because, I was just doing a newbie mastermind the other day and a lot of them were like, oh, I see that and I don't even try. And I'm like, you have nothing better to do right now. You literally have no clients. You should try so hard and do exactly what Allie said and like, boom, 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 swarm the shit out of them,
Warm
DM,
them. Yep.
DM, follow up because, of the 80 people, they're getting tagged at once and then they're doing the same thing. They're like, oh, that's too many people. I give up. So if you're the person who keeps going, but then flip side of that is like looking at you two right now, absolutely, not worth the best use of time.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that also depends on like where you are in life.
Yeah, totally agree. Like when you're starting, you have to do everything and anything to get your name out there. But it truly scales just like everything else. Like once, and then like with you, what you were saying, Allie, about you still posting in there, I think something that you can do is like pair up. I have a agent that I'm really close with here in Nashville. She has a whole team. You actually met her, Shelby. Her name is Erin Holloway.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's all about this like wolf pack concept. And she like just has these arrangements with other realtors. And she's like, I'll shout you out on these pages and you shout me out too. And so instead of like self-promoting, you're promoting all these other people, but hopefully it will kind of come full circle. But Anyway,
cool.
you could ask people to do that too.
Oh, yeah. There is one realtor here that everyone and their mother tags, and I know that he hasn't helped all those people, you know? Yeah, yeah. That's another way. So what other sources of like lead gen for referrals do you do?
So I recently just gave up investor coaching. I had been an investor coach for a while. So a lot of marketing for that, social media ads, email marketing. But I'm sort of shifting my focus. I love to mentor, I love to coach, but I'm going to focus on conferences. So I've hosted 3 conferences now. I'm hosting a big one here in September. So that I think is just a way for me to do something that I love to do, host and network and mentor, and also just, again, hopefully bring agents to my team and clients as well in terms of referrals.
So you're not just
Totally.
attending, you're hosting.
You're
conferences.
I'm
hosting. Oh my God.
hosting.
That
Yeah.
is all
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much fun. And I wanted to get into public speaking, and I've done some public speaking because I love doing the podcast and I love public speaking. But what I learned that I like more is hosting the conferences, because I don't have to prepare anything, right? Like, I'm not like getting up there and giving a speech or a presentation. I'm just helping bring everyone together. I'm helping make sure that the speakers are speaking to the audience, like, right, the right message is being broadcast. And then I'm able to just like, bring them all together, and I kind of close out every speaker, and I just really enjoy it. And it's like, I feel like I've learned so much as in the past like 5-6 years as an investor, as a realtor, just in the business as a whole. But I'm amazed that you can just continue to learn from every presentation you hear, every person that you meet, and it's awesome. And I just like love the vibe in the room at a conference.
Wow.
Yeah. I love that too, the facilitator role. So I'm totally with you. Like, I'd rather be like the conductor of the orchestra as opposed to like the one who's like in the spotlight playing.
Yeah, totally.
Oh,
Allie, you were going to say
that
something.
like feels so
Sorry.
heavy to me. No, you're good. That feels so heavy. I can't even like host a Pints and Properties. The logistics of it all, not for me. Not for me. Like, my worst career field would be planning a wedding, like an event planner.
God.
Oh,
We're
gross.
opposite.
Throw up.
That's my other life.
I
Like, in my
hate-
other life, I'm a wedding planner or an event
Me
planner.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I always wanted
Damn.
to do that, but I don't want to work the weekends.
So if there are agents like listening that want to do this, because what I hear about conferences is a lot of times they're not a money maker, right? Like, majority of the time you're
No.
going to lose significantly, like, especially how big it is. Where do you host them? Like, what venues are you finding? What are like just the simple ABCs of hosting your own conference?
Yeah. So the first one we just did in the Keller Williams office. That's the one that Shelby was at. And that was super low budget, like literally cost less than $1,000 to put that entire thing on. And I think we had like 45 people in person and maybe like another 20 on
Virtual.
Zoom. Yeah. And so, I probably walked away with like $2,000, but the amount of time and effort that goes into that, it does not even remotely play out. But a lot of those people ended up being clients of mine. A lot of them ended up being referral clients. Some of them got loans, and I connected them to lenders and got like a cut of that. So it ends up being
quick pause. How are you getting a
Allie's
cut?
like, I want that.
Sending it to a lender.
I knew
Talk
she
more
was
about
gonna ask.
So conventional lenders won't do it because it's against like lending rules. But if you connect someone to a private money lender, they'll give you a cut all day. You just got to ask them. Just say, what can you send me out of that? Yeah. A half a point is pretty standard for doing nothing. If you actually want to like broker the loan and like, cause you don't have to like go to do any sort of education or have any sort of certification to broker. And I'm doing air quotes for people that aren't watching, but to broker a loan, you just literally connect the buyer with the lender, and then you just help facilitate the transaction, make sure they get their documents in, make sure they fill out their application, all that stuff. And you can take a cut. So if you're doing that full brokering piece, you could get like 1%. But again, it's like nothing more than you making a couple phone calls and sending some emails. But if you don't broker and you just make the intro, some will call it a referral fee, but it's typically like half a point. So it's just another easy way to make money that you're already doing that anyway.
Right,
you're already
gonna
making
naturally
those
connect
intros.
people.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool. You're a referral agent and you're also the referral on the lender side. Okay. So many questions. Is there anything else that you're a referral piece on?
Literally everything. If I make a connection, I either expect people to send me business in return, and I will make this very clear. Like I will continue to send you business, but you need to send me business or pay me a referral fee. So I just ask for that right up front because your net worth is your network. And so the way to capitalize on that is to ask anyone and everyone for a referral. And like you guys already do that, Shelby, like with the mastermind. I know I just had somebody wanted to sign up for the mastermind and you're like, we'll send you $100 referral. Like most coaching programs or mastermind programs will do that, whether they have a formal program for it or not. And honestly, there are times where like someone will be like, I can send you a $50 Amazon gift card. I'm like, sweet. All I want is for you to acknowledge that I'm sending you some business that is worth something. And yeah,
Ali and I are both taking notes. We're literally both going to do this because it's, dude, we connect people all day and we like, of course we're going to do it regardless, but also if it's an additional stream of income and they're going to be happy for the business. They want the business. Right. So I'm sure they'd be glad to. I actually did just get a $50 Amazon gift card from a cleaner who I referred a client to. And I thought that was really sweet.
So yeah, they get it. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing is like, you can tell a lot about a person too. Like, let's say you make a new connection and you're like, I want to keep sending you this business, but I want to kind of like I scratch your back, you scratch mine sort of arrangement. Like, how can you compensate me for the business that I'm sending you? And, people that really get it will be like, man, I'll pay you for this all day, like 10%, 25%, whatever they think they can do, but other people will be very closed off to it. And that to me is a huge red flag. Like, I don't want someone like that in my network. I don't want someone who's not willing to cooperate with me and not willing to help me build my business when I'm helping them build theirs. So it's almost like a criteria for me to like eliminate the people that I don't continue to send business to. Yeah.
Totally. Screening with vendors.
So
again, this is only for private money lenders that you're doing this with?
Yeah, regular lenders can't do it, but I think that because it's not legal, but they can send you gifts and things like that. But I think with those lenders, you want to emphasize to them like, hey, I'm sending you this business. You are my go-to conventional lender or VA guy. You need to send me business in return. Like that is more than reasonable. And if you're sending your lender consistent business and they're making money and they're not sending you business, that's the only thing they can do. Then I would look for another lender or just have a really good conversation with that person.
What is a ratio that to expect? It's never going to be 1-to-1 because usually people go to like realtors first. What is a reasonable ratio?
I mean, for like a referral fee, obviously in real estate, we know 25% is the standard. And so that's just sort of what I use to guide that whole conversation. But I think it depends on where they are.
Like if I give you 50 clients, I've referred one lender. What would, every market's different, of course, every lender is different.
I would say it like depends on how much business they're doing. Like if they're only doing 100 clients a year and 50 of them come from you, you're not going to get a lot. But I don't know. I guess I've never really thought about that. But so like to put in perspective, I'm hosting a huge conference in September at the Wynn in Las Vegas. And this thing is costing me like $150,000. And I'm bringing on sponsors to help. And my VA lender is Pat and Gade. He's my go-to. He's actually the #1 VA lender in the country. I asked him to sponsor that conference for $20,000 and he sent me a check for $20,000. Like he's never sent me any business. I don't know if he ever sends anybody business because he's so busy originating loans. But he is supporting that event for me, and that makes a huge difference. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a rule of thumb. Yeah. So I think obviously, like if you're not hosting conferences, then you don't have that. But maybe it's like you host an online webinar, and you're like you're doing a new buyer webinar, first time home buyer webinar. Reach out to your that lender who has an email list and say, draft this up for them. Like say, hey, I wanted to let you know that my favorite agent, Allie, is hosting this, blah, 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 blah. Like, who do you know that would want to go? Like, ask them to do things like that. Like, I think hopefully, I feel like keep saying this over and over again, but just like
No,
ask for what you want, you know?
It's like ask, but also make it easy for them. Like that's the
Yeah.
piece that I really loved where you're like draft it for them, because like like if someone asked me, this actually happened the other day, they're like, hey, will you write me a review, like a letter of recommendation? And of course I will, but I mean, of course I'll sign it. I recommend you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend 3 hours of my time writing, rewriting, thinking through how great you are, thinking through your past experiences. No, but if you write it for me, I will sign it.
That's awesome.
So it's like the same concept. So dude, I love that you do that. And also what I was thinking about is like when you talked about an online webinar, it can also be like, you know, a mini conference would be a meetup. You know, you could have someone sponsor, you know, the drinks at Pints and Properties, or food at a luncheon, or maybe even marketing materials. Like you want to send out like a ton of like little hats or koozies or whatever, and you have your brand on one side and theirs on the other, and they pay for it. Dude, this is exciting.
That's a great idea. Yeah. And I think that that's like the possibilities are literally limitless. But for like my agent framework, which I think we'll get in here shortly, it's all about like figuring out how to make everything that you do align with your end state. And so my end state, my goal is to build my portfolio, which means I need more money coming in. I need active money to continue to build my passive income. And so every single thing that I do, I want to make money on, whether it is, you know, referring a cleaner, referring an agent, connecting someone with a lender, hosting a conference. Like it all has to contribute to that goal. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it, and I just won't do it.
Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us. We'll reshare that.
That's amazing. I have taken so many notes.
We're both like typing on the side.
We're like, Shelby, what the? So I love this tangent that we went on as far as how to utilize lenders that you know, that you trust, to like leverage your business as well.
Or vendors too. Not just lenders, like every vendor. But sorry, go on, Allie.
Thanks, Shelby. Now I forget where I was going. Okay. Oh, back to referrals. Back to referrals. So we've talked about how you generate all this business, and then you must have some sort of process since you are a referral agent only now. Talk us through the process from start to finish.
Yeah. Okay. So I have leads coming from like a multitude of different directions. Like I have Bigger Pockets leads coming in. I used to be one of their premium agents, but now I just have a portfolio on there and I get some free leads. I use CINC, which is where I pay for leads from the people that I bring into EXP, and then I just refer them. So basically I send probably like 6 or 7 referrals to each of my agents on my team a week. And I used to have it so that like we'd fill out the referral form for every single one. And it was like a lot of paperwork. And actually my mom is my referral manager. I had a referral manager that Shelby introduced me to, and she was awesome. But then she got out of the business. Yeah, and she sent me a really weird email, and she basically was like, "I will not be doing any of these going forward." And I thought she was like firing me. I'm like, "What did I do? Did I do something wrong?" And I got fired too. Yeah, and so I was so confused because like things were going fine, and then suddenly she was like, "I'm not helping you anymore," and I was like, "Okay." So anyway, I had another agent come on, or a person that was managing my referrals. And the model that I was trying to set up, which I haven't done very well, is I was trying to get people who wanted to be agents to come and be my referral manager. And I paid for their real estate education. And they came and worked for me. And they got, like, my referral manager makes 10% of any referral that I close. And so my person I had, I think she'll probably come back. She's going through like a lot of personal stuff, but hopefully she'll come back and then she'll get her license. She's super close, but her life is nuts right now. So in the interim, my mom stepped up. She just recently retired, but she's kind of bored. So she does my referral paperwork. But now we wait until they've made contact with the clients and like are actually, because a lot of the Bigger Pockets leads will be like, "Oh yeah, I reached out to 20 different agents in 20 different markets." And so they may never actually buy in that particular market. So until it's like actually a potential client, we don't do anything. We don't waste our time on the paperwork. But once we feel like we're there, they have a buyer's rep agreement with them or something like that, then we will fill out the referral paperwork. And then, once they get them under contract, we'll create a transaction, and I get paid. So it's pretty straightforward. We trimmed a lot of the fat. We only do what's necessary because the volume of referrals I do, like the paperwork just got pretty ridiculous.
So you're finding clients, and then you connect them to a realtor before doing the paperwork, and then you wait to
Yeah,
see if they connect.
I
Holy
do.
shit!
And like there are people that are like, I can't take the information until you sign the paperwork. And I'm like, okay, well, we're
That's
probably
me
going to lose
now.
the client. Yeah. I mean,
That's me. I got burned too many times.
I think the other thing too is like I just recently enacted like a system to track all the referrals and go back and check on referrals, because I'm sure a good amount of these have probably closed and I didn't get paid because I didn't.
Yeah,
People
it does
probably just
happen.
forgot like that, because sometimes it takes a year for these people to buy, sometimes it takes
Yeah.
more. So I'm sure I've left a lot of money on the table. But
Same.
is it worth though? Like in thinking about this, Shelby, like is it worth like putting a ton more time into it to find that money? I don't know. Like I don't know if I am willing to put much more into it, but
I think it depends on where your energy could be going. So like if you have some sort of project or business that you're building or investment, whatever that you're working on that would generate way more revenue, then you just have to balance. But if you don't have something like that and the best return on your time is following through. So it's all,
yeah,
just like
totally
everything,
right.
it all depends on the situation.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, another thing too is like not all realtors are created equally. Like a lot of realtors are
Preach.
shitty.
Say that
Like a
again.
lot of realtors are unethical. A lot of realtors have no integrity. I got to tell you a quick story about my very, very first transaction. So I represented a buyer, and first transaction ever, it was a nightmare because the seller was in deep, and apparently the realtor was in deeper because the realtor went to the title company that we closed, took both of our checks, the checks made out to the brokers, and cashed those checks and ran.
What the?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Where
So
did he run to?
we had to do another brokerage. And so we had to do this whole, I think he like basically got released from, but it took me a while to figure it out because first transaction, I didn't even know the process of getting paid. I didn't know who got the check. I didn't know if I got paid directly by title. I had no clue. And so once we finally figured out, like a couple of days had gone by and I talked to my broker and they called the title company and they were like, oh yeah, so-and-so picked up the checks on closing day. And then we called his broker and they're like, we never got those checks. But also we've asked him to leave our brokerage because he's a bad person. And so, and the closing was delayed by like a couple of days, like nothing crazy. And this dude would call me like screaming at me, like desperate to close, like it has to close today. And I'm like, I have nothing to do with closing. I don't know what you want me to do here, but he was so desperate. So anyway, it was a total show. We had to go through a whole arbitration, is that what it's called? With the Realtor Association. I didn't do it. My broker did it for me and my team lead. And it was this whole thing. They were like, sorry, you're owed this money, but the money's gone. So I never got paid on that transaction.
Oh,
That's disgusting.
My
Isn't that
God.
wild?
Dude,
So
you
that
have
was
two
my
shit shows
first
today.
transaction. Yeah, I should tell that story. I forgot about that. I think I blocked that one out. But yeah, so it was, that's just a picture of what some realtors are like.
Yeah.
Worst.
No, I've shared a story on my Instagram as well too about a referral that I sent to a branch manager of a brokerage in Louisiana who was like, oh, well, since I messed up because I never sent the paperwork. And now I never make the connection until I send the paperwork. So I know that I messed up. So I was like, hey, but I connected. Like we literally have a text thread, agreeing to the everything. And he was like, well, you didn't send the paperwork, so I don't have to pay you. But anyway.
No, I don't think that's the case. I'm pretty sure if you is he a realtor?
He's a straight up broker. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that even like without that paperwork, that agreement is enough to get paid. But I could be wrong.
Oh,
I mean, you'd have to fight. You'd have to take them to like realtor court.
Right.
It's the effort.
Right.
It's that decision too. It's like that. I mean, I have that conversation a lot where it's like, yeah, you could fight for a month and maybe get $1,500,
right?
Or you could just be like, well, and then go make it somewhere else.
Yeah, and put so much energy and emotion into it. It just isn't worth it.
Yeah. I want to back up a tad.
Yeah. No,
I think we might be going to the same thing.
Dude, Allie, take it. Send it, girl.
Okay. When you mentioned CINC, both Shelby and I wrote that down at the same time. What is CINC as far as leads?
Okay, so it's CINC. And I did some research when I was like looking this up, but I was looking for a way to generate leads, but also like a CRM. And so that's what CINC is. So you have a front end website, like mine is explorenashville.com, explorenashvillerealestate.com, explorecharlotterealestate.com. And so it's a lot of inbound leads. And so when people say they're looking for a realtor in these markets, they pop in as leads. And CINC has like a lot of AI, artificial intelligence. I almost forgot what that meant. I'm like, it's AI, everyone knows. But so they send out like text messages automatically to the client, which can get really confusing because the AI has a name. I think his name's like Johnny or something. And so the client is like, wait, you're Erin. I was talking to Johnny. And then I'm like, well, Johnny's not a real, it's kind of weird. But they engage the client via text and email, automated stuff. And once the client responds, you kind of get a trigger and then you take it from there. Because a lot of them don't respond, or a lot of them say like, you, I never put in my phone number. And you're like, but you did. That's how we got it. So anyway, you don't have to deal with any of that because the robot does it for you. And so once the client is ready to like actually talk to a person, it lets you know. And there's an app on your phone and you can communicate right through the app, or you can just take it offline and like text, call them, whatever. But it's cool because like I can route I can scale my agents, and I can say like this person only wants buyer agents, or this person or buyer contacts, this person only wants seller contacts. And you can get really specific for who gets what. And then you see all the activity in there. So I can see like new lead, attempted, contacted. It's all categorized in there. And so it helps me when I go reach out to my agents. I'll say like, hey, it looks like you got a bunch of new leads. It doesn't even look like you tried to contact them, or it looks like you're attempting, but you're not getting through. And like, it helps our conversation to make sure they're being productive too. But yeah, that's where I'm focusing now on generating my leads, because I don't actually use it as a CRM because I'm not engaging any of those clients, but my agents are able to set up all these automated emails. Like they send out emails on their birthday, emails on holidays, and it builds their email list in the system and allows them to continually market to them.
How much upfront
so many
work
questions
is a lot. How much upfront work is needed for this? And have you and what's the biggest difference between kvCORE? Because kvCORE will also send out texts and emails automatically as long as you put them on a campaign, and it'll come from you and not from Johnny.
It's very comparable. It's very comparable to kvCORE. I forget what the one reason why it was between CINC and kvCORE, and I chose CINC over kvCORE. And I don't know if it came down to price or not, but in terms of the I think actually, no, it was just my experience on the sales end. Like when I was trying to get this whole thing set up and deciding which one to go with, I just was really happy with CINC's response and how quickly they, got back with me and stuff. And it's been like that the whole time. But it's a huge learning curve. Like we spent, I want to say 4 hours. I don't know why this light keeps dimming. We spent 4 1-hour sessions, like just learning the system. And the people that train you, like they've either been doing this for a really long time or have been agents before, because they've got the scripts like down. Like they're just really good at what they do, and help, basically they're just teaching you not only to use the system, but also how to keep kicking your client down the road closer to a closing or a contract. So it was like training was super time consuming because you had to learn the system, but it was also really productive as an agent just to see someone else walk a client through,
I'm sure,
meeting them to contract to close. So,
dude, one of my, this is such a piece of like, whenever you're setting up something new or implementing something new, it's the part that you said where it took 4 1-hour sessions just to even learn. And that's the thing, like we're sitting here and we're like, oh my God, CINC is so cool. And like, I'm sure it is freaking cool, but that's just across the board. Everything sounds cool when you get the like clickbait highlight version and not realizing the amount of hours and effort it took to learn it and set it up.
And that was just 4 1-hour sessions of getting the whole team together. Like they still put time in on their own too, so it was a lot.
Totally. And okay, so my question with CINC then is so when the lead comes in and between you and your team member, the agent receiving, what does like payout look like? It's split. How does that work?
So all of my leads, because with EXP, I don't bring them on as team members. They just come in on my downline. So I'm able to take advantage as solo agents. We're all solo agents. And I looked into the concept of a team and I just decided it wasn't worth it because I like the way this is set up. And the reason I came to EXP is because of the way it's set up where I'm like, I tell everyone I'm on the 5 Pillars team, but I've never given Shelby a penny of anything I've done. I mean, obviously she's like made her revenue share, but I'm just able to do my own thing. And so that's what they're able to do too. So the leads that I give them, most other situations that are set up like this, they would pay me 50% on not just the business I'm bringing them, but all the business they're doing. Like even if their mom decides to buy a property with a team set up, they're still having to give me 50%. And that's not cool. Not cool for me or it's not cool for anyone. So these sync leads are just referred to them. And so it's a 25% cut and sometimes less. Like sometimes when there's a situation where it's a really low cost property and my agent has to go so far away to like an hour drive and they have to do it a couple times. Like I'm like, dude, send me 10%. Like it's not worth, a couple $100.
Totally. And I think that we could ask questions on this all day, but I do want to make sure that we get to your agent framework, which is your golden nugget, and you can find it at theagentgoldmine.com. But Erin, okay, what is your golden nugget?
Yeah. So I created this framework that I call the Agent Success Framework. And I actually learned this at the 10X, something like this at the 10X Veterans Conference that I went to in January. And they have like this overarching system and they pull all these levers to help, improve your big system. So that really got me thinking because I'm all about making sure that my lines of effort are moving in the right direction. Everything is aligning because I do a lot of different things. And I also don't work all the time. Like I am largely a stay-at-home mom. I want to hang out. I pick up my kids every single day from school at 3:00. My little one's home with me Tuesdays and Thursdays all day. I want to hang out with them. That's like, and I don't work on the weekends, things like that. So I'm a very part-time business owner, maybe not emotionally, but like, sitting at my desk and doing work. So everything that I do has to be really productive. And I think I really learned this during COVID too. Like at the beginning of COVID, I was stuck under a flip and had a lot of things going out, a lot of expenses going out and not a lot of money coming in and not really unsure of what the future was going to hold in terms of real estate, right? And so I panicked and I spent a lot of time like stressing and I didn't make a lot of money because all my energy went to stressing. And then I learned to like really harness my effort and my energy and I created like a mission statement and I made more money the next month than I ever did just because I said I was going to make it. I just told myself I was going to make it. And at first I kind of laughed about it and then I made it. And then the next month I said, I'm going to make double. So it was like that number was 10K. The month before I'd made $0. I said, I'm going to make 10K this month. I made $10,017 on my like referral business. And then I said, next month I'm going to make 20,000. And it was laughable to me, right? Like I was like stay-at-home mom who dabbled in real estate and I made that money. And so I learned like you can make whatever dollar amount you decide, but your actions and every single thing you do has to align with that. And so that's where the framework comes in. So at the base of the framework is your why and like your brand. So what are you in this for? What's real estate for you? What does it do for your life? What kind of a life does it create for you? Which in a lot of ways is your brand, but I think because realtors are their business is them as a person, branding really comes into play. And I think if you really know your why and know what it's all about for you, that is your brand. But it takes time to develop that and figure that out. And it's a lot easier to, do your elevator pitch or your social media stuff if you know what your why and your brand are. And then at the end of the framework is what you're trying to do. What are your ultimate goals? Is it capping? Is it doing a certain amount of volume? Is it recruiting a certain number of agents? Is it a certain number of transactions? And then in between that are the different levers or lines of effort that attribute to that. So I have team, systems, marketing, and technology. So the team is like, who do you set up to help you do this? Like, do you have an accountability partner? Are you a part of a mastermind? Do you leverage the 5 Pillars team or whatever to help you accomplish these goals? And you have to really like write that down, think it out, and then you have to put KPIs to those. So it's not enough to say, Allie's going to be my mentor or my accountability partner. It's a conversation that you have together and you say, all right, Allie, I expect you every Wednesday to reach out to me and make sure that I do this. And if I don't, you need to kick me in the or fire me or whatever. Like there has to be repercussions and feedback for sort of like that KPI loop. And then the next one is systems. And so that can be CINC or kvCORE. It can be, whatever it is that your brokerage has or something that you create. I do a lot of my CRMs through just Excel. And I'm a big like handwritten person, like cross things out. That's just how I function. So whatever yours is, make sure that it makes sense for you and leverage it. And then marketing, of course, you can do all these different social media things, social media accounts. You can do hosting meetups, going to meetups, giving out business cards. So your KPIs would look like this week, I'm going to hand out 10 business cards and I'm going to set up 2 phone calls with other agents I can partner with or other people I can add to my team. And then the last sort of line of effort is technology, which I don't use a lot of technology because it's not my thing. And it's hard for me I spend a lot of time and effort on them and get really frustrated by them, but that can be a huge way for you to like scale your business without putting any more time into it. But caveat to that, you have to put in the work up front to set those up. So that's it. And I think like whether you are wanting to be a referral agent, a full-fledged agent, a team leader, own your own brokerage, the system itself is the same.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Thank you for explaining that. And again,
super helpful.
If you didn't catch it the first time, theagentgoldmine.com, that's where you can get it for free. So the next piece of the agent puzzle, what are you working on next to continue increasing your business?
Yeah, so we are in the middle of a move from Tennessee to New York. So I'm going to put my license back into referral status. I've got one more closing on the 31st of this month, and then I will focus again 100% on referrals. I just recently became a mentor with EXP. Nice. So we'll see. I'm not sure if that will be worth my time. I brought an agent on who needed a mentor, and it took them, they couldn't really find the right person, or I don't know, something was wrong with like them connecting. So I said, I'll go be a mentor. So I'm mentoring her. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to host conferences, maybe set up a Pines and Properties where I'm going, but I actually also am considering maybe setting up a virtual one, but I don't know how that would look. But anyway, yeah. So just more of the same, more of the networking, more of the facilitating, bringing people together. We've been here in Tennessee, like off and on for the past 8 years. And I like truly have a neighbor myself here. Like every time I go somewhere, people know who I am. And I love that. It took a lot of hard work to do that. So I'm having to start over again in New York, which is a little bit frustrating, but I feel like I've learned a lot and I'm hoping to just like be more productive and make that happen faster than it did here.
Dude, aren't we all?
Yeah.
That's cool. It's like all the experiences and lessons learned. Like it is exciting when you get to move into whether it's a new area or another piece of the business, because you get to use all of those experiences, the blood, sweat, and tears that have led you to the person that you are now in your next venture.
Yeah, totally. And you have the confidence to do it because you're like, man, I've been through this and I've done this and like, no sweat. I'm going to do it again. No big deal.
Dude, for sure. Okay, so that's like kind of like the next agent piece. If you were to fast forward, because I can tell you're not one to ever fully be retired. I feel like. So what is there? Is there like a big like end goal that or not that there's ever an end either, but like what's a big mountain in your future that you're kind of looking forward to?
Yeah, so my husband has like 6 more years in the military and then he can retire. And I think he's going to come to work for me.
Love it.
With
I was like, with?
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. I mean, he says that. Yeah. Oh, I know. I said, you don't even know. I was like, you don't even know. I'm so strict. Like, anyway, so I can't imagine us working together every day. And I don't know that I really want to work with him every day. So I have a feeling like things will sort of shift a little bit. We also created a foundation last year, so I could see him like running that foundation, which would be super cool because it's hard for me to do that on top of all this other stuff. But that thing could have its own, like that could be like a full-time gig for somebody. So anyway, I think that is sort of like until then, because our girls will be like starting high school when he gets out. And that will be like a big shift personally too, because right now my kids still want to hang out with me all the time. When they're in high school, they're probably not going to want to. So things will change. I'll have more time, and then Jared will come on board in some capacity. So I feel like until then, it's just continuing to do what I'm doing, like hosting events, growing my network, and building my portfolio, all the while doing these referrals and just increasing my income every month and net worth. And then after that, he comes on and we just continue to do the things that are fun. And I think what retirement looks like for me is paying off all these properties that we own. Like at some point, I feel like we're going to stop buying more properties. I thought that was going to be last year. We were going to focus on paying down the mortgages, but
the shred method.
Yes. And we're somewhat doing that, but I'm just so obsessed with like acquisitions and continuing to add more. And anyway, so at some point we will just focus on paying everything down, or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just spend the next 30 years letting our tenants pay off our mortgages. And then we'll sell or finance all those properties to somebody else. And that to me is retirement, is once we're able to at least start selling off our properties and continue to make that monthly income without a huge tax burden, and then also not have as much to do day to day.
Yeah. Yeah. I recently started the shred like within the last 2 weeks, and seeing it go down $35,000 in the last 2 weeks is so exciting. That's like,
And it's amazing once you watch your money. Like
yeah.
you can spend so much money. And I found this out, like the busier I am in all the businesses that I run, the more money I spend, because you're looking for ways for life to be easier and like more convenient. But when you start watching every penny, and I'm like a nutcase, like my husband jokes that he's like on an allowance. I mean, he can buy whatever he wants. It's just that he has to it has to be on my timeline, I guess.
I'm not working for you, Erin. I was like, not gonna retire to like avoid working for her.
I know.
She does it with a smile though, so it's okay.
Well, I feel like it doesn't seem that controlling until I actually say it out loud.
Say it, yeah. And now it's recorded forever. It's fine.
And he'll be the first to admit, like, if we weren't together, he would still be renting an apartment, and his net worth would be $0. So he's into it, and like we travel like crazy. Like we've taken like 4 epic vacations this year, and we're about to go on an Alaskan cruise out of Vancouver, and that's like what we do with our money. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I love that. And I'm gonna continue watching your journey as you post it on social media. I love following you on social media. With everything that you do, family, business, conferences, how do you have any life hacks or business hacks or any hacks in general that you can share?
Yeah, I think that like the biggest thing is, as a business owner, is to just accept that your business is your life and that you're going to be working all the time. And I think that once you do that, you shift the way you think about work. Because I used to get super annoyed, like on a Saturday morning when my phone would ring, and it would just piss me off. And then I would just be mad about it, and it would ruin the rest of whatever I was doing. And now I'm like, I love doing what I'm doing. I love this business. So I've really shifted the way that I've thought about it. And so now it's just like, I don't have like working hours. I'm working all the time, but there's times that I'll like take meetings and things like that. So I think that was a big thing for me, not necessarily a hack, but in terms of a hack, every single Sunday I sit down and I plan my week, and I list out my goals. And what that looks like now is mostly money. Like, this is how much money I want to make this week or generate this week. This is how much money is owed to me this week through, closings or whatever. And then on Friday, I balance all the books. I do all the accounting. And it's just like amazing how those goals are just happening, like coming to fruition, because I go through them on Sunday and then I schedule them. I put the things on the calendar and make sure that I follow up on all the things that I'm supposed to do. And I make sure, on a practical level, that like I receive the checks I'm supposed to receive that day, like in the mail or direct deposit or whatever. I follow up with the people that I need to, and I reach out to new clients or existing clients or realtors on my team. So it all has to be scheduled, and it can get completely overwhelming when you fall behind. But I think another thing that I've done is like create like Fridays are for finances,
Oh my God, me
Tuesdays,
too.
yeah,
Me three.
yeah,
Oh,
and like
Financial Friday.
I love that.
So cute.
And
Nerds.
Tuesdays, Mondays are for marketing and social media, marketing Mondays. And then Tuesdays are for when I follow up with all my EXP leads, like potential agents. Wednesdays are for my team. And so that's kind of how I have it broken down. So instead of looking every single day at, holy cow, I've got to do all this, especially like on
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays when my kid is home with me, I'm like, no, I just have to do two things and I need to do them well. And then I just need to put out any fires that come up. And it's amazing how much that can like free up your capacity to enjoy your life and be a good business owner.
That's made a huge difference in my life too. Like Financial Friday in particular has made a huge difference in my life because I used to throughout the week get irritated and stressed every time there was like a ping from like bookkeeper, CPA, anything with my banker, any invoices, like any of like money related things or like LLC creation. And now it is so helpful to know that I can just boomerang through. I do this thing with my email where you can follow up later, but it's so helpful throughout the week to just know that Friday is dedicated to that. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it until Friday. And then I think about nothing else and I just attack it.
That's like a
So
great example of like the technology lever, like that you just said is how you are freeing up capacity in your mind because you don't have to like constantly shift back and forth to finances.
Yep.
Like you're like, I will spend these 2 or 3 hours once a week focusing on this and only this. Put your phone on do not disturb. Don't schedule any phone calls and knock it out. Whereas if you were doing that, let's say you spent 45 minutes every single day on it, it takes away from all your other stuff. And yeah, that's a really good example.
Love that. Okay, dude, we got to know. Wrap up questions. What is your favorite app or tool?
Real quick, if you're listening to this on Apple does not make it easy to leave us a rating. So I'm going to break this down for you. In the search tab, type in the Be More Show for Agents. Click on the thumbnail. Then click that middle tab that says reviews and click write a review. Tap on those 5 stars, of course. Let us know how awesome this show is and how it's helped you. And if that's too much for you, I understand and just switch to Spotify already. Thank you so much and back to the show.
I have to say the Google Calendar keeps my life in
That is a
order.
very popular answer.
Yeah, I live and die by my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, and then sometimes I get mad though when it doesn't alert me in the way that I want it to alert me, and I forget about something or don't have enough notice. But that's my answer.
What do you mean alert you the way that you want it to?
Well, so like sometimes if I don't automatically change the alert setting, which is like 30 minutes before, I'll get a 30 minutes before notification that it's my niece's birthday. And then I'm pissed off because I didn't send her a gift when I should have a week ago. So like you have to like go in and like, or like set it up for recurring or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll just plug it in there really quick on my phone and I won't change the notification and I just won't get enough notice to prepare or whatever. So
yeah. One thing I did, because I was like falling behind on birthday cards and I don't even really ever know what to say on a birthday card. I'm like terrible. I have to use Chat GPT. So like in the beginning of every month, literally the first of every month, I put everybody's birthday that's coming up that month, as long as it's not, June 1 through 5, as long as it'll get there in time. And so I like copy and pasted all the names. And now I have like my assistant actually has access to my calendar. And the beginning of the month, she is going to write the handwritten cards or birthday cards and mail them out. And it's like such a game changer.
that's so smart. Yeah.
So what events are you going to this year or putting on?
Yep. So I just hosted a conference in right outside of Nashville called the Take Big Action and Grow Your Wealth conference. So that was epic, super fun. And then earlier this year, I did the 10X Veterans Conference in Florida, in Cape Coral. That was awesome too. Every January I go and I do it's kind of a mix of a conference, it's kind of a mix of a retreat. And I kind of get my mind right for the year. So I'll do that again next January. I'm going to one hosted by my coach. Her name is Jamie Pierce. She's a life coach and it's in Arizona. I cannot remember what that's called, but I'm going to do that in January. My conference in September. And next year I plan to just host one conference and attend a couple more because these other conferences, I haven't been able to go to as many as I would like to. But I feel like as a conference host, I need to get to as many as I can. And just as a person who really likes to learn and network. So next year I want to prioritize attending some that aren't mine and then hosting just one.
Nice. If you're coming out to Tucson, let me know. the one in
Yeah, let
Arizona.
me double check that. Yeah,
She's
I can't remember where it's at.
She's like,
No,
I'm actually
I know.
busy. I'm busy. Did I say
No.
Arizona? I meant Alabama.
No, that's not what that was. That was like, I can't remember what city it's in.
Dude, Erin, don't feel bad. I feel the same.
No, I would love to meet you, Allie.
Okay, Erin, how can we help you in your business?
Tell everybody that you know that Erin Helle is in real estate.
Will do.
And where can people find you?
Yeah, so Facebook, I'm the Erin Helle. Instagram, I'm the Erin Helle _investor coach. My website is bcglobalinvestments.com. And you can come to the Financial Freedom Summit in September and meet me in person.
Oh, love that. Is there anything else that you want to say that you wanted to say on this podcast or you want to tell people?
You know, set your goals and don't stop until you achieve them. Ruthlessly pursue them and your life will never be the same.
Love it. Okay, guys. And if you want to hang out with me and Allie is Allie the agent, and I am the Shelby Show on Instagram. And that's all we have for today. Erin, thank you so much for hanging out today.
Thank you,
and
Erin.
Thank you,
guys,
guys.
you know what to do.
Be a bro and share this show.
Woo.
Thanks for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep the resources for you. Till next time.